everyone, it is Jazz again, and in this video I really want to talk about my experience celebrating the holidays in Germany as of last year, 2021. I was an au pair in Germany, and I really want to recount those experiences. If you are thinking about traveling to Germany, if you are thinking about being an au pair, especially during that period of the holidays, I really want to share about what the experiences that I had, as well as the traditions that I noticed. So let's get to it. So in Germany, I will just say the holidays was not as big or as widely emphasized as much as it is in the United States. And the reason why I say that is because it just felt more of like it was an at-home like family thing versus something that was very much highly commercialized. It was more like there are activities around this particular season because of the fact that they do not celebrate Thanksgiving as we normally have in the United States, and I know in Canada, I believe they just celebrate it in a different date. I'm not completely sure, but for them, because they don't have that, they also really celebrate the 4 Advents. So Advents, that is basically, it's very common for people within the denomination of, I think, Catholic, Lutheran, Evangelic, like Methodist Church, I think, but it's basically there's specific forms of specific denominations that celebrate the Advents. For the first thing I really noticed was just to go down the list is that the holiday season does start in November, but it's with the Advents. It's not with Thanksgiving. So the Advents, it'll start around like maybe late November, like the end of like the last week of November, and on that Sunday, and then it leads up. Every Advent is basically leading into the next Sunday, those 4 Sundays up until Christmas Eve, or I think that Sunday the Sunday that is that where Christmas Day or Eve falls under. So that was something that was really interesting. And then they have this tradition where there's these candles. So at the Advent candles, there's 4, and we actually got to make one. We had this big thing, and then we had to wrap like with wire, like green wire. We wrapped these little like leaves, or I don't know what they're called, but they basically look like pine branches. So basically wrapping those around it, and then we had the candles that were basically hot glued on top of it. And every Sunday, leading up until the 4th Advent, they would light the candle. There was a lot of food. I remember the first Advent, that Sunday, actually my first host family that I was with, they had this whole table full of food, and they were setting everything up. And I realized, I was like, wow, this is like Thanksgiving but breakfast. But it's just a normal thing. They wake up, they have all this food. First Advent, yay. That was actually around the time that I experienced the first snowfall in Germany. So earlier I opened my window, and it is the first snowfall in Germany. Well, I don't know if it's been snowing in other parts, but first snowfall. And then also, of course, the second Advent, I remember the second and third, I remember I was in church for those. The last Advent I spent with my family friend in Dormagen. So the traditions are pretty much the same. The other thing that I thought was really interesting with that, I think they called it a Tanz. That's what it's basically. It looks like a wreath, but candles are in it for the most part. Then you also had the fact that they had what they called Advent calendars. It's basically these fun things where you basically, they look like, I had one that was like a tree and it had chocolate in it. And so it's like every day from December 1st leading up until the 24th of December, then they would have something new, like a piece of chocolate. That's just one that they gave me. And then there's some like where, like they had like, I remember my friends, my friend's husband, he had a Haribos, like one of the gummy bears. So every day was like a different type of gummy bear packet, like a little mini packet. And then also, I think some people have, my friend, she had lottery tickets every day. She was like, yes, a new lottery scratch off. And then I think she had another one that was like family photos. She would open up a new envelope and it's like, oh, it's this cute little photo of us, of me and my husband at this, on vacation during this one time. So fun ways to where it's like every day you have something exciting to open. Then there's also the aspect of St. Nicholas. So that was basically, I believe it was the 6th of December. I remember I woke up and I saw a stocking on my door. I think because the parents want me to participate, but it's basically like Santa Claus comes, but he just fills your boots. And so the kids got like some little bits of chocolate and candy, and then they had like they had like oranges in there too, like little clementines in there. They got new sweaters. So those are that's one thing that I had never experienced. Was I'm like, this is Christmas. This is something we do on Christmas Day, not like 24 minus 6, not 18 days before he gets here, and that tradition. So it's kind of like there's a lot of these things that lead up until Christmas as like anticipation. And then on top of that, the 24th is emphasized more than anything else. So the Christmas Day is like, for us in America, it's more of like, yay, we opened presents, Santa Claus came, and all these things. But the 24th, it was like everybody did everything that day. It was like they go to church on Christmas Eve. They would eat on that day. They would, it was more, there was more traditions around that, especially like that fourth, like the last Advent, more than anything else. Because my friend, I remember we had all these plans to do these different things. And then Christmas Day, she said, yeah, like my husband and I, we're going to pack up and we're going to go to Austria for vacation until New Year's. Because it's very common in their culture to be off for like that whole holiday season. Like people just go on vacation. Unlike in the United States, where it's not as common, like where Christmas happens and people still have to go back to work the next day if it's a business day the next day. For them, it's like we're off till New Year's, which is very interesting. I think, which I like the mentality of it. Of course, grocery stores, that's a little bit different, but however, they do get Sundays off. So basically you just have to do all your grocery shopping around you have to do all your grocery shopping on usually like Saturday. That's the one day. And then Sundays, it's part of their German culture is that Sundays, like nothing is open. Like you don't really go anywhere. You can go to the park, you can go do some fun things like buses and, public transit is still active, but usually during Sundays, like, it's just nobody, it's like nobody's working. The other thing, Black Friday. Black Friday was not at all a thing. I don't know, just because for us in America, we're used to it being like, okay, like Thanksgiving happens, and then all of a sudden we're like racing to like stores to go, or like, to stand out in line to get like a new TV or some sort of gift that you're planning on giving someone. Or sometimes people just take advantage of Black Friday sales just to get really cool things for themselves, which is perfectly fine. I remember I used to see signs promoting Black Week. So it was like you had a whole week for all these sales to be going on. And it was very much where it wasn't like crazy, kind of like in a way that it is here, or that it can be and has been in the past when you think about the craziness of Black Friday sales. But it was just like, my thing is that from my interpretation from the German people, this is just from my first eye view, is that they're not very materialistic. So yeah, there's sales, but it was like the whole week. So you had all week to be able to take advantage of these deals. So it's very relaxed. It wasn't really, like something big you needed to do. So that was something that I thought was really interesting. So especially like grocery stores would have Black Week sales, so you could buy like food for your Christmas dinner or something like that. I know that's the one thing I really enjoyed. I remember like about a few days before Christmas, I remember we had when I was with my friend in Dormagen, we had at our apartment there was a big get together, and we got to drink Glühwein, which is like basically red wine, but they just heat it up and they put it in a pot. You heat it up. It's basically like warm wine. So you drink it in a like little mug, and you just go outside and hang out and things like that. For the kids, they have a non-alcoholic version of that. So just everyone just had a good time, and it's like you can. My first host family, they had these little invitations, and they invited everyone around the neighborhood to come over and to have Glühwein or Kinderpunsch. Like I don't remember what they called it, but it's basically like punch that doesn't have alcohol. And then after that, it was more of, just like I said, it's just fellowship. Overall, from my experience, one of the things that I really enjoyed was it was about fellowship. It was about conversations. So I'm not used to holidays being about like, oh, what did you get me? And like all these different things leading up until Christmas. Gift giving it's like, I remember I got like some small things. I remember like my friends, their neighbors gave me like this necklace and these earrings, which I thought was really thoughtful. Then my friend, she gave me this little owl, like it was like a little wooden owl, and I think I still have it somewhere. And then she gave me 50 euros because I was staying in her house until I had to leave to go to my next host family at that time, which was really nice. At that time, and yeah, so it was a really thoughtful, there's little thoughtful gifts. I know for kids, you may have toys and things like that, but that was just pretty much it. There was the Weihnachtsmarkt, which is basically like Christmas markets. And the fun thing about these markets is like you can go and buy all kinds of different things like from local people. So I bought a map, like a wooden puzzle. It's a map of Germany, but it's a puzzle, and you can put together all of the Bundesland, like the regions or the provinces, states, so to say. So all of those, so it helped me with like my geography of Germany. So I was like, oh, this is so nice to have. They have these little wooden toys that kids still play with, apparently, because over there everything's not so technologically driven with their kids. So, which I talked about in my video of what I loved about Germany. So I will just say I love that it was more about just being with people. Overall, that was like my main takeaway. And not only that, but it's just, it's not about gift giving. It's it's a holiday specifically about Jesus Christ. For my own faith as a Christian, is that Christmas is always going to be around Jesus Christ. But it's really interesting to see how other people, even in other cultures, are celebrating a holiday that is very holy in that matter. If you are not a Christian, of course, this may not, matter to you. But however, it's really interesting when you travel to other countries to be able to see a Christmas market in Germany. I swear, it's like fun. They have rides for kids and like carousels and whatnot. So that's really fun. It's fun. Buying, fun little trinkets that you can bring back and whatnot. So it's really part of the cultural experience. One last thing I do want to mention is the New Year's. So New Year's Eve is what is known as Silvester. So it's fun. We actually had dinner with my friend's neighbors. Since she was out of town, the neighbors, they invited me over, and they were from Poland, and it was so fun because they've been living there for 8 years, but they just like were so hospitable, and they're like, you're by yourself? Come over next door. I had to just go across the hall like a couple of feet, and then they gave me like shoes and stuff like that to put on, and like it was like this whole thing that they made. It was like 3 or 4 courses. It was kind of amazing. It was kind of a lot, but I enjoyed my experience. And there was basically fireworks the same way that we have New Year's Eve in the United States. We watched a lot of Polish TV, and it's fun. We got to share a little bit more about where we come from, because they asked me about where I'm from, and we actually got like on their smart TV, we watched some YouTube videos about like tourism and like all these like from like Kentucky to explain like where we're from, to share my culture and my where I grew up, and so that was really fun. Yeah, so they do have like sparklers too. I know that was because I remember my ex at that time, he sent me a video of him and his brother basically just like lighting sparklers, and it was kind of cute. So yeah. So I hope that this video is helpful, especially if you plan to go to Germany, especially around the holiday seasons, or if you have family, or even let's say you're dating somebody who's from Germany. I remember my ex was explaining to me the whole process of Advent at one point. So you basically kind of be able to have some of this information so you can kind of know what to expect, especially around the months of November to December. So talk to you soon.